Welcome to the lesson on the reproductive system. This system is sometimes known as the genito, part of the genitourinary system. So if you're looking at the A&P book, you'll sometimes see that these two systems are clubbed together. So this will just look at the reproductive side of that. To put it together, you can have a look at the urinary video that is on the page as well. So first of all, we're going to look at the reproductive organs. So obviously we've got male and female reproductive organs. So we're going to have a look and break those down to begin with. So first of all, we're going to look at the male genitalia. We're going to look at the structure and the function. So first of all, I've got a diagram here. We've got two testes. These are sex glands which sit outside of the body and they're housed in a sac of skin called the scrotum. This then sits behind the penis. So in the testes is where, after puberty, sperm is produced. And then when needed, the sperm exit up into a coiled tube called the epididymis. From here, the sperm start to develop further and they then pass into the vas deferens. This tube then comes up and over and passes through some glands here called the seminal vesicles. These structures produce a fluid which mixes with the sperm and starts to produce then semen. This semen then passes through the prostate gland, which produces a further milky fluid, which again contributes to the production of semen. And then the semen passes through the urethra and out of the end of the penis when it is required. We need to remember that this urethra is a dual purpose urethra. So we can have semen exit the urethra, but also this urethra is used with the urinary system, which you can watch in another video, where urine is released as well. So then we want to look at the female reproductive organs. And so very similarly, instead of two testes, we have two ovaries. These sit inside the body. They're about the size of an almond, and at birth, females have around 30,000 immature ova that are in the ovaries. Once a month, our ovaries release one of those ovum into a fallopian tube, and usually it alternates between sides each month. So the ova is released into the fallopian tubes, and the inside of the fallopian tubes is made of ciliated epithelial tissue. So tiny little cilia, those little hairs, and they will waft very gently the ova along the fallopian tube, which then passes into the uterus, which is also known as the womb. This is where the development of ova, if it's fertilized, would fertilize into a fetus, and where then the fetus would develop and grow, or where an unfertilized ova is released during menstruation once a month. We then have the opening from the uterus, which is called the cervix, and that exits then into the vagina. We also need to be aware of breast tissue in females, so that does form part of the female genitalia. Our breasts are glands that develop in response to activity in the genitalia. They are present in men as well, but they're not activated in exactly the same way. Obviously, our breast tissue is there for producing milk in response to pregnancy and helping to feed a baby after birth. So functions of the genitalia or the reproductive system. Well, firstly, a production is the function is the production of hormones. So the testes and the ovaries both produce sex hormones. They're known as gonads, and they produce hormones to aid with puberty, pregnancy, menopause, and andropause. And for more information of those, you would look more into the endocrine system. So there is a video that links with that about the endocrine system and what hormones those produce and what effect those hormones have on the body. Another function is really obvious, reproduction. So without the male genitalia and the female genitalia, we aren't able to reproduce. And so meiosis, the production of a human, the reproductive system is responsible for that. And then we talked about that production of milk from the breast tissue as well in response to pregnancy. So short and sweet system, but very much linked to the urinary system, where there's a separate video, and the endocrine system, where there's a separate video. How this can impact our treatments, very much to do with hormones and different stages of people's lives. We're going to see clients going through all stages of puberty, perhaps problems with their skin, hormone, mood changes, through to pregnancy and all of the hormonal changes that come along with that, and then male menopause, andropause, and the female menopause. So our treatments will wholly treat the reproductive system, but mainly looking at those production of hormones and what effect and implications that has on the body, and how our treatments can counteract that.